It's a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank member FDIC, our amazing partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. It's a Monday. I'm here with Maddie Lane and only Maddie Lane. Hello, Matthew. How are we today?
Listen, we're doing good. Football has been played. It definitely counts. It's definitely real. Things mattered from that game, so we're doing good. The Chiefs football has officially started. It's been a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to kind of get the reps again. Both watching this team and then doing a little breakdown afterwards on the KCSN postgame show.
Oh, it was so late.
Yeah, and it's gonna be later for this upcoming one. You're not even gonna be here. Is it just me and Tucker on the postgame show on Friday night?
Absolutely.
There's a high probability it is. Yeah, I don't know if we have anyone else. Maybe VJ will join us. I don't know. I haven't talked to VJ about it.
You could ask Craig. Craig lives in mountain time zone, so it's barely midnight.
That'll be lunchtime for him. Yeah.
This will be having an afternoon coffee.
Yeah, if we keep that up, we'll be out there by 4. It's a deep cut for some people. Anyways, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know who all is going to be there. So the funny thing is, I'm at a wedding reception or a rehearsal dinner that night, and then coming back and doing the Chiefs post game show at midnight, and then in a wedding the next
midnight if you're lucky.
No, it starts at midnight. It's starting at midnight.
I'm pretty sure. When I stayed up the other day when the Seahawks played their first game against the Raiders, it was 12:30 when that game got done.
Are we contractually obligated for more than 30 minutes?
Obligated?
I don't know. That's a BJ question. It's above my pay grade.
Counterpoint, Saturday morning, we just do a post-game show once I'm awake.
Wow, this is a great comment from Ronson Trey. Pull out the smelling salts. That would be a great bit that we do. Holy cow.
I don't know if I've ever done them. Have you done them?
No comment.
I've done once for lifting stuff, but other than that, that's it.
I have done it far more for lifting stuff than I have football. Yes.
Did it help the pump?
It does.
It does not help the pump.
Right.
But yes, it does in fact help you get
it helps you move it. It helps you move the weight. I will say that.
It helps you forget that you can't do it.
Every morning, I'm in a group chat with these two gentlemen, and every morning about 6 o'clock, these two start texting each other about their lifts. Every morning, what they're up to.
Sorry for making your life better.
No, rise and grind, man.
We're on the gain train, baby.
Inspo, I guess. Appreciate everyone though that is hanging out with us tonight. We are really excited to have Chiefs football to talk about, and we've all got a chance to break down the tape a little bit more, watch a little bit more of this team. Maddie was up at immediately on Sunday morning grinding the tape. I've had a chance to watch it since, and so we got some stuff we wanted to talk a little bit about. I think off the top. Oh, no. Okay. No, off the top, nothing, I guess. I'll just let you cook, I guess.
Sidetracking it so fast.
Yeah.
So very fast. Dan Orlovsky has ranked quarterbacks based on their particular skills and traits that he finds important. I just wanted to, get your thoughts on this. He ranked the top 10 and arm strength, ball placement, mechanics, decision-making, pocket presence, rushing ability, and second reaction. Patrick Mahomes was first and nothing. Just want to get that out of the way first. First and nothing. He was left off entirely on mechanics. And I guess through the aggregate of your average ranking, he was fourth, according to Dan Orlovsky. So how do we feel about these rankings of quarterbacks based on these particular traits?
I saw the mechanics thing and and it immediately wanted me to just disqualify the entire thing. Because it's what are we doing? Are we? Oh, well, if I think this throwing mechanics thing has become so subjective with the current state of the athletes at the quarterback position for one, right? And so I think, we talk about mechanics. I don't know. I think being able to throw from any platform whatsoever that Dan Orlovsky could never do is unfairly being judged incorrectly. And it's just like, oh, well, if Tom Brady can drop back and take a 3-step drop and, open those hips up and keep that elbow high and who cares about this mechanic stuff? Let's have some fluidity to your athleticism, Dan. I mean, know where the back of the end zone is, Dan. I mean, this was a bigger miss than him running 5 yards out of the back of the end zone. I don't know why this is one of the criteria that you're using to judge. The whole thing was a mess. The whole thing.
I'm with you on the mechanics thing. I think
some of this stuff was ridiculous.
No, we're gonna get into more. Don't worry.
Okay.
But the mechanics thing, that was the first thing that jumped out to me. I was like, okay, I'm fine with trying to base it on mechanics, but you have to be kind of clear what you're going for. Are you basing your mechanics on, do you look like Tom Brady or Drew Brees, dropping back every single play with the exact same steps? You're hitting the back of your drop. You're throwing the ball exactly when you're supposed to. Everything looks the same, rep after rep. Or because you're maybe more physically talented, can you alter your arm angle? Can you throw the ball without having to have your feet entirely planted? Is mechanics more about, does everything look robotic? Or is mechanics more about your ability to set some kind of base, whether that's with your feet in the ground or just through core strength, and then deliver velocity on the ball on time when you're supposed to do it? And so, I'm with you. I think the mechanics aspect was absolutely silly. I just thought it was funny that we somehow still got Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen in there, but not Mahomes, as if those players are elite for their throwing mechanics.
Josh Allen's mechanics actually forced him to sail more passes than Mahomes does. Mahomes can up and down any ball, anywhere, anytime, any place he wants. He has that ability to throw with touch, timing in layers. He can throw a ball up and down and get it over anyone he wants or around anybody he wants. Josh Allen will legitimately drop his arm slot so far that it just it's the Kent Swanson dropping the arm slot so much it just continues to ascend out of bounds. He will sail passes because of that. You don't have it's silly. It is silly.
Listen,
it is silly.
Jared Goff is 9th. Dak Prescott is 8th. And listen, mechanics are different. We're already talking about mechanics are hard to rank, but you tell me to find the most robotic, hey, this is how you teach middle school and high school quarterbacks to throw. Dak Prescott and Jared Goff are going to be much higher in my rankings than 8th and 9th behind, not behind some of these other names I said. So the mechanics entire section was a wreck.
The mechanics thing with Jared Goff too, I don't even know if I totally agree too. If we want to talk about release and how long it takes him to release the football a little bit, he's got a little bit of stuff to clean up there too. And we're gonna base that over Mahomes. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing, Dan? What?
So even worse than
August.
No, there's worse.
Football started, Dan. Football started. You don't.
There's
you do have to do this. You do have to do this because you have to get your takes off and your hot takes off, because you're having to continue to move the line of hot take like the rest of the network that you're on. But
I like this one. Decision-making, 5th. So you're going to rank Mahomes bad, not bad, but not first in anything. But then you get the decision-making, which you would say okay, is this turnovers? You would assume crunch time. You would assume 3rd and 4th downs. All of your high leverage situations would start to play into, judging by all the other options, would have to play into this. Patrick Mahomes comes in at 5th in your decision-making. He's not the best at anything, but he keeps winning based on how he performs in the tightest, the most high pressure situations, but we're going to give him 5th in our decision-making. We're going to put him 3rd in the pocket presence category. 3rd? Just because Joe Burrow takes 8, how is Joe Burrow first? He takes sacks left and right.
It's because he operates the
can't
pocket.
Move?
He operates the pocket with mechanics, is what he does.
Because he can't move?
It's that he's, because he's not athletically gifted, he's got great mechanics, which it's negative counting athleticism.
Lamar Jackson second. Lamar Jackson has gotten so much better at football. Lamar Jackson still bails immediately when things look muddy. How are we going pocket presence for that? You want to say he's the best runner? You want to even give him the best second reaction plays? That's fine. Not going to argue, but pocket presence? I don't know.
It's probably because he had Lamar lower on that, but then when he did the aggregate rankings, Lamar was too low in the aggregate rankings.
That's think he fell behind Josh Allen?
I think there's some adjustments make. I'm not saying that's never happened with the KCSN draft guide.
Whoa.
We
Listen,
might
your fantasy football quarterback, your QB1 got first in 4 different categories. Joe Burrow, that fraud, and you frauding, got first in 4 different categories. So, like, they must have a lot of Super Bowls under their belt, huh?
Clearly. And I think that's clearly not being taken into consideration whatsoever, because if it did, then, the list would be real and accurate, because, a lot of those guys, Jalen Hurts would be too high. Good side row, Maddie.
I thought so. I thought it was worth it.
Whatever you want to call it. Derail, sidebar.
Yeah. I mean, also on the censored here, QB rankings, Mike Sandoz, athletic, or the QB tiers have come out. Mahomes is still the top tier, still technically number 1, but he's tied for 1 with, again, your quarterback, Joe Burrow, also is a unanimous number 1, tier 1 QB. So like you and I guess the NFL like Joe Burrow very much.
I like Joe Burrow in the 4th round of my fantasy draft, Maddie.
Just saying. He's your QB1.
Especially since you'd already taken 2 quarterbacks in the first 3 rounds.
This continue all season, right? Actually, it's a dynasty league, so forever.
You
didn't think about that, did you?
I think here's the thing. So we're in a dynasty league, and like 7 of us are Chiefs fans. There's 2 Packers fans, maybe 8. There might be 8 Chiefs fans and 2 Packers fans in it. And I don't think anyone wanted to take Joe Burrow.
Well, you sure did.
He kept falling. And I just said, you know what? I like winning more than I hate Joe Burrow. And so I did it.
Yeah, but you didn't anticipate this.
I knew as soon as I did, I was like, it's over for me. This is over for me. I'm cooked. Mattie's never going to let this live me down. He's going to call me a fraud. He's going to call me I stand for nothing. Like, I think it's going to get deeply personal here very quickly, and I'm scared. But if I keep beating your team, which has a chance to be the worst dynasty team ever.
We just did this. You don't have to lie to the people.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk. We'll do a blind test sometime. We'll A/B test the teams and have people vote on who they think is who's
okay, Benedict.
Oh no. Let's talk about Omarr Norman-Lott. Please. We're gonna move on.
Sure.
I think, one of the first things you jumped into, Maddie, when you were kind of breaking down the film over the weekend, was taking a look at Omarr Norman-Lott, taking a look at the Chiefs rookie defensive tackle, who definitely looks heavier than the 291 pounds he tested at the NFL Combine at, or was weighed in at. Definitely looks a lot thicker. Maybe try to project a different role upon him, perhaps, Matthew.
Yeah. I mean, I think it caught everyone's attention a little bit when, during camp and stuff, it came out that he had added, the wording was like 20 or 30 pounds. I don't know if it's that much. That's a lot, but he had added a pretty significant amount of weight to his frame. And I think the general thought was, maybe he's trying to get better versus the run. Let's see how this plays out. And it just, it was kind of a thing that happened. And then we went by and didn't think about it much. And then we get to the preseason game and just looking at Omarr Norman-Lott, like you can tell that he definitely added weight. And like, I made some jokes on the post-game show about it. I'm going to try to refrain from doing that here. I think we got the good ones off out of there. We got them out of the holster. He added weight. That's fine. That's completely okay. And then when you kind of looked at how they used him, though, like he wasn't just lining up as a free tech and just getting after the passer. He wasn't just exploding off the ball and trying to get upfield. It really looked like they were playing a little bit more 50-50 as a nose tackle, like next to Jerry Tillery. And then sometimes as a 3 tech, he was looking like he was a little bit more stout first run. So like, let's, I guess, start with his play and then maybe why this might be happening. I was pleasantly surprised by his stoutness versus the run. He wasn't super impactful, but he also wasn't getting moved around a ton, except when he had to move laterally. When he had to move laterally, he was getting pushed around a little bit. And I think there's a reason for that we'll talk about in a second. So I was pleasantly surprised by how stout he was versus the run, given what that looked like in Tennessee. So you immediately saw he did add extra weight and it was helping him not get pushed around by double teams, by down blocks, by drive blocks. Like he did a pretty good job eating space. I'm not going to say blockers yet, but space. And then I think, unfortunately, what comes with adding weight is you might lose a step. I thought he did look a little slower. He didn't look like he had that same level of explosion that we saw in Tennessee that had him as like one of the most efficient pass rushers like ever in college football. It just didn't seem like he had that same juice. So it didn't feel like he was getting in the backfield quite as quickly as he was before. It didn't feel like he was just being as disruptive. He was more eating space. And it was interesting. It was entirely the polar opposite, I think, of what I was kind of expecting from him as a player, given what we had seen in him in college camp.
Yeah, and it's like trying to look at the style of play and the reason people got really excited about him, and then having those thought processes and all of that kind of reversed almost a little bit with how he looks physically and what they're asking him to do and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of jarring to see a little bit. I did think he held point well. Like, I think holding point would probably be a phrase that I would use for what he did with his reps along the interior. It wasn't getting off blocks and making plays necessarily, but he was definitely doing a pretty good job of holding point. I thought there were still flashes with the first step, not the entire, like there was less flashes with the first step and there wasn't, it wasn't as consistent, but I still saw a play that I was like, oh yeah, there's a little bit more there than there's still something there, even though he put a little bit more weight on. It just wasn't quite as consistent as we've seen in the past. And there could be a lot of layers to that. It could be him, understanding snap count a little bit better, as he progresses. And, cause like sometimes when you're evaluating these kids coming out of college, you're having to try to figure out, okay, so like, is it truly elite get off, or is it, he's just really good at timing snaps? And so you mix some layers in there that can can kind of help you try to figure some things out from that perspective as well. But I thought there was flashes of the first step, just not quite as consistent as we've seen in the past with him. But yeah, I thought, he did a decent, I think he held point well. He wasn't necessarily making the play, but he was a lot more, he was able to hold up a little bit more physically than we saw at Tennessee. That's for sure. That's where the weight was absolutely helping him.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was. And so I agree with that. And I want to be very clear. I don't think his first step is like bad, even now with the added weight. It's just in college, he was able to change his gap a lot and then still explode through the line before he would get hands on him. And I don't think that was there. It was definitely a lot more linear than it was before. And so I did something else I want to notice real quick. You said it too. He wasn't getting off blocks very well. And for a guy that has over 33-inch arms, he really does seem to struggle to create space and disengage from blocks. Like I remember watching him in college, like I think he has shorter arms. And then when he came in at like 33.5-inch arms, I was mind blown. And I was like, oh, that's really good. Hopefully you can see him utilize that. I think even watching this preseason game in my head, I forgot that he had 33.5-inch arms. I was watching him go, shorter arms. It looks like he has shorter arms over and over again. I'm thinking that, go and look. No, he doesn't. The arms are long. He just doesn't play to the length that he has. And like, I think that's one of his issues in getting off blocks. So that's where if you're going to be a good run defender, you got to be able to get off blocks at some point in time. You can't just eat space. You got to be able to make a play off of it. So I do think he's working on that. Work in progress. He's adding weight. He's kind of changing his role a little bit for us in Tennessee. That is by no means a concern, right? We want to see him get better at that. So he's got step one. The question is why, right? I think that's what everybody wants to know is why do we get that? So I've come up with 3 theories here. I'm going to go down one by one. I'm going to let you tell me if you think it's right or wrong.
And by theories, you mean why is Omarr Norman-Lott added weight?
Added so much weight and gone. And it's kind of taken away from what his quote unquote superpower was as a player. It was the superpower was he was quicker than the blocker. So he was able to get constant pressure. I don't think he's got that anymore. Okay. Theory 1. He was injured at the end. I don't think he got to work out a ton at the combine. He was injured at the end of the year, was injured a little bit throughout camp. Then he didn't sign for a while. He just added a lot of weight because he was eating food, hanging out, doing nothing. What say you? Yay or nay?
It doesn't seem to look like a guy that even though he put on weight, it doesn't look like bad weight. And it doesn't look like he just looks like a guy that just didn't do anything over the off season or the summer. So like I would kill that narrative. I'd say nay.
I would agree. It's just one possibility, right? Like he could have just shown up over the weight that they had expected, but I'm not saying that's the case. That's just one theory. Theory 2, he sits there, he looks at the coaches, he looks at the depth chart and they say, hey, if you want to play more snaps, you probably got to be able to play the run better, which means you need to be bigger. Chris isn't going to be our nose tackle. Chris isn't going to play the run. Jerry Tillery isn't going to be our nose tackle. He's not really going to be the run defender on the interior. If you want to play more snaps, you might need to get bigger to take on a larger load, like just as a player. Do you think that would be something like he just decided because of the roster?
I don't think it would be an Omarr Norman-Lott decision. I think the Chiefs would ask him to put more weight on. I think it would be more Chiefs-sided and with an expectation on weight, because I do think they have weight thresholds and expectations for all these players as it is. So
you don't think it would just be him, though? You don't think it would him be looking at it and saying, I should do this because it would be helpful?
No, I don't think he would do that on his own.
So that leads us to option 3. And this is where I think it would go to. When I watched Omarr Norman-Lott in college, and you can correct me if you think this is wrong, he's very explosive and is a good pass rusher, but his body just isn't built like your typical athletic pass rushing 3-tech. He doesn't look like Chris Jones, and he's a freak, I understand, but he doesn't look like Grady Jarrett, where it's really lean. It's kind of evenly distributed upper body, lower body. You kind of have like a waist and stuff. Like, it's not a shape. He's built more like a nose tackle. And even now that he's added weight, a lot of that weight went to his hips, to his lower body. Like, he looks more like a nose tackle than he does a 3-tech. I just happen to wonder if the Chiefs watched how he won and said, he's not stiff, but again, I don't think he moves super fluidly like these elite 3-techs that Elijah Cansey, when he was coming out. I don't think he moves like that. He doesn't move like, if you remember Jarrell Casey, Grady Jarrett, I already mentioned, like, he doesn't move like those guys. He's a lot more short burst and it's kind of linear. I wonder if they looked at him and said, if we add 20 to 30 pounds to this guy and his movement ability, we can get a stout, kind of penetrating 1-tech rather than this pass rush, more agile 3-tech, right? Like, he could play more like, if you remember Vernon Hargrave in Pittsburgh before he got to Philly and really blew up, play more like Vernon Hargrave, where you're playing a little bit 50-50 nose tackle and 3-tech. You can be stout versus the run, but you're really still more of a penetrator because you're this refrigerator that can get off the line of scrimmage. I just wonder if they saw something in his play style and his body type that they said, I think we might like him better as a nose tackle rather than a 3-tech, because I just don't know if he has that kind of like slippery feel that you expect out of a pass rushing situational rusher as a 3-tech.
Yeah. I think there's some legitimacy to that one. I think I could see that being the path. We look at Trishawn Wharton last year, and he played from a 1-tech alignment at times last year too. Like, he even played in some select packages, I think, from like a 1-tech spot too, if I remember.
I think as a rusher, never really like not a base
down guy. I know, and it wasn't like truly a base down guy. I'm just saying, like, I could see, maybe they're trying to, take a little bit of what you're getting out of Turk, and a guy that can rush from the 1-tech, but still be a little bit more stout there. You're looking at a guy that could maybe hold up a little bit more on early downs. And that's your answer to some of what ails you along the interior of the defensive line, is trying to get a little bit of both potentially, and having a guy that has the frame to hold up a little bit more, but still has a little bit of juice to rush from that 1-tech alignment. I don't know. I just wonder if that is like, it's like a hybrid, right? Because like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I would be clear. He's not going to become a 2-gapping nose tackle. Like, it's definitely, it's not that at all. If you think back to Jaron Reed, when the Chiefs signed him with the hope that he was going to play next to Chris Jones, he was a guy that started his career as a nose tackle, and they slowly started giving him more of that 50-50 split, because he's like, oh, he's kind of a good pass rusher for a 1-tech. What does this look like if we split him out and give him that B gap? I think more in the line of that. It's like, yeah, this guy can play nose tackle for us, not as 2-gapper. Like, we're going forward, we're shooting a gap, but we're doing it at 315, 320 pounds. And then if we need to, as a pass rusher, you can still stay on the field and rush the passer as a 1-tech, as, quote unquote, a nose tackle. I'm trying to wrap my head around why the Chiefs be like, hey, we want you to add this weight. I don't think it would be temporary, I guess, is what I keep coming back to. You're not going to make a college age guy at 24, 25 years old, I think it's 24, add 30 pounds for one season and then come back next year and tell him, right? Like, that doesn't make sense. If it's from the Chiefs, there has to be a reason. And I was just thinking about it. And for his play style, I really wonder if they might skew a little bit more towards, you're not our Chris Jones replacement. You're a 3-down 1-tech. You're a 3-down nose tackle. He's still going to play some out wide. Don't get me wrong. But like, I just wonder if the goal isn't like, I think we like you better, thicker, and just trying to shoot gaps rather than being the guy that's getting the one-on-ones as a 3-tech.
When do you think that plan, let's go down this rabbit hole just a little bit. When do you think that plan materialized? Do you think that was at draft day? They knew what they wanted to do with him?
They did it. I mean, they said they had that plan with Rashee Rice to turn him from an ex-wide receiver into a yak merchant, right? And complimentary, not derogatory, complimentary. But like, they said that they already had that as the plan. That was the first thing they said to Rashee on one of their meetings, right? Like, who's to say they didn't do the same thing here with Omarr Norman-Lott?
Yeah. I mean, maybe that was just kind of the plan all along. I was gonna say, like, CJ West.
I don't know.
Like, I just like, I mean,
Okay,
CJ West
listen, don't make me upset.
2
Don't
rounds
make me get
later,
mad. Don't make me get mad right now.
he's already built a little bit more like that. I don't know.
He's already doing it in the preseason, you mean? No, I mean, like, and maybe, right? Maybe there's something to that. Maybe they still thought that Omarr, Norman-Lott. So, okay, here's it. CJ West, I very much like as a player. If you tell me that you think you can put 15, 20 pounds on Omarr, Norman-Lott and still get that same pass rush juice that you think you saw at Tennessee, I could, I guess, buy the pathway that might be better than CJ West. His best pass rush reps at Tennessee were better than CJ West at Indiana, right? Like, he was, the high end pass rushing reps were better. If you think adding the extra weight can maintain that and then also get better at the run defense, I can see the avenue. I don't know when it happened. Maybe it happened during rookie camp. I mean, to add 20 or 30 pounds, Kent, that probably honestly had to be a draft day decision. That doesn't really seem like something you pull off starting at the end of May.
I know, it's just right, and like it's a good point. Like, timing wise, like, it would make a little bit more sense. And I just kind of going through the defensive tackle groups and trying to figure all that out. Just like looking through all this, and I don't know. I don't know. It's fascinating. It's an interesting theory, and I think we're gonna have to find out over the course of the preseason. I think one thing it is worth just acknowledging, we probably should have acknowledged this 26 minutes ago, is like we're kind of breaking all these things down, is just as a blanket statement. Like, it's preseason week 1, and I think we can all acknowledge that, and we can have some critiques of these players, and it's all things that they need to show, flash, and improve over the course of the preseason. Right? It's not this death knell for any of these players. So any critiques that happen from here, it's just, I think there is a layer of like, yeah, like some things, like if it's year 4 and it's the same things over and over again, sure. But I think some of these other players that we're going to talk about, like, there's still even room to grow over the next month before the season even starts. Yeah. So, like, I think we just need to make sure that, like, we're keeping that context there as we have the rest of these conversations.
I don't want this to be, I don't want this to be like a negative thing about Norman-Lott. Like,
no, I know.
I thought his game was like fine. It looked like a late second round rookie defensive tackle trying to play in his first preseason game, right? That's fine. This was just more of like diving into like, why do we think they did that? Because this is a stark turn from what he was in college. And so I've been racking my brain trying to figure out why. And I really do wonder, like, thinking back on it now and just like some of the notes I have on him and just how he moves, I do wonder if you're like, okay, we don't see a guy that we put in the B gap and give a two-way go play after play. He doesn't have that kind of movement. What he does have is, hey, we can just send this 315-pounder straight ahead, and he's going to be kind of a little bit of a wrecking ball. Again, I go back to like a Vernon Hargrave at like the absolute best. Like, that's like kind of the peak version that you're looking at. That kind of player at that place. And Spags loves defensive, like nose tackles that play like that. That's kind of up his alley. So
we have plenty more to break down. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with all kinds of stuff right after this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story. Like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Folks, nothing beats hanging out with the boys on a hot summer day and watching some baseball. And the simplest way that you all can get in on the action is to download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It is crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. And the best part is, Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and then use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Look, the KCSN golf tournament is a week from today. So if you're listening to this on a Monday, it is a week from today. And so that's pretty much well and booked. I think we might have a couple spots available. If you are interested, you can still check that out. However, leading up to that, we have a giant raffle going. We have a opportunity for you to win all kinds of awesome prizes through a raffle program. The link is in the description of this show. If you want an opportunity to try to win a Chris Jones signed white jersey, a Xavier Worthy rookie card, a private tour to Holiday Distillery, which is just trust me, unbelievable. Dwayne Bowe signed jersey, Rashid Rice signed jersey. 1 ticket for $10, 7 tickets for $50, and 20 tickets for $100. The winners are going to be announced on that football show on August 16th. So you have like 5 days left. So many opportunities to both support the KCSN Foundation heading into our tournament, which this is a big opportunity for us to try to raise some money for some of the things that we're trying to do here to help the city that we love. Like supporting feeding the homeless, children's literacy, stuff, like some of our stuff with Therese Paylors, all kinds of different things that we're trying to help support. So if you want to kind of continue to your support of that, link is in the description of the show, and you're gonna have an opportunity to win something cool. So would really appreciate your support of what we're doing there with the KCSN Foundation. I don't know how much we really touched on the secondary that much during the post-game show. Like, I know there was a couple players that got a little bit of run. I do know there was one very interesting thing that you pointed to on Twitter today as you were looking at some of the visualizations of the snap counts, Matthew, when it came to this secondary and what you kind of saw and some of the trends that you think might be headed for this team in 2025.
Well, I mean, first of all, we got to give the credit to the right person. I when I was watching the defensive film, I didn't do like the defenses like all 22 to start. I just kind of rewatched, and it was the trenches. Craig actually sent us a text and was like, "Hey, Shamari Connor started at safety, didn't he?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." So I went and looked at the snap count thing. And yes, Shamari Connor and Brian Cook were the two safeties on the field for the first like couple plays, and then Hicks came on for a third down, I believe it was, and then it was back to the two safeties of Cook and Shamari Connor, and then Jaden Hicks was clearly the third safety for the first drive, while Shamari Connor was a starter. He was playing deep safety. He was even playing single high, like center field for a couple reps. He was the starting safety, and I was like, that's interesting enough. That's worth at least like talking about and saying he's starting over Hicks. Then I looked a little bit closer. Shamari Connor's day ended when Nick Bolton's day ended. It ended when Trent McDuffie's day ended. It ended when George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, pick any other guaranteed starter on this team on the defensive side of the ball. When their day ended, so did Shamari Connor's. You know who kept playing? Brian Cook. You know who else kept playing? Jaden Hicks. Listen, I don't know if this is just preseason noise, but that was interesting to me that not only did he go out there as the starter, but he didn't get extra reps. He didn't get any reps with the second team. He wasn't playing beyond when the guaranteed starters were. And I just right off the top, I was like, that seems a little noteworthy to me.
I think it's noteworthy. And you hear how glowingly Steve Spagnuolo speaks of Shamari Connor. He loves Shamari Connor. And he's spoken to the importance of him in this defense, previously, and how valuable and how much they love him and how much Spagnuolo loves him. I'm not going to compare him to the love that he has for Nick Bolton, but I do think that there is a level of trust that he has with Shamari Connor. There's a level of belief that he can handle a large workload, that he has the football intelligence to handle a lot of different things on that defense. So I think the value of Shamari Connor externally is probably not as high as it is internally. And I think what you saw there kind of speaks to that a little bit too. They don't feel like he needs extra reps playing from depth, for instance. Like he's not like he played a ton of snaps from depth last year, but he played from depth in this game. Like they're preserving him and they're moving on. I think that is a little bit noteworthy if you ask me. So it's nothing surprises me with that defense, really. Like nothing surprises me with Steve Spagnuolo, and like that's fine. Like Spags, whatever you need, as long as you keep cooking, like that, by all means, my friend. I did see him get picked on an out route from the slot. Like the one rep he had down there from the slot gets picked on. They throw an out route. They throw another field out route again. But we'll see.
I believe he was targeted twice, gave up one catch, and it was like as soon as he stepped down into the slot, it was unfortunate. And it was all of the issues that I think we as fans have had with Shamari Connor playing in the slot. He's just not like quick. He doesn't change directions overly well because, well, guess what? He's built and moves like a safety. So like, I think on one hand, we can sit here and look at this and be like, oh, I don't know if we want more Shamari Connor because he does seem kind of like one of the Where's Waldos of this defense when you want to have success. However, that's when he's playing in the slot. We didn't get to see him really play as a true safety last year. I even linked it on my Twitter. I wrote an article back in 2024 going into the year about how he could be like this weapon for this the Chiefs defense and move all around, and specifically highlighting like, hey, I think he looked the most comfortable playing safety, like actually playing safety as part of a two-high, a split safety, coming downhill, making plays moving forward. You could even get by with him playing as a deep safety from time to time, kind of like you do with Justin Reed or Brian Cook. So like, I like the move of him playing safety more. My holdup is, well, I don't think that he needs to step down and play the slot corner role either. And I think it also comes with the caveat of, is he starting at safety over Hicks, or is there a chance those two get to play together and we don't have Brian Cook, who I'm not saying anything negative about. It's just I've seen enough to know that I don't know if I am excited if he's keeping Hicks off the field, like a Brian Cook is keeping Hicks off the field. So I think it's just I think this one is heavily worth monitoring going forward, because the only playing the 8 snaps and then being done for the day and getting some reps as a split safety, as a 2-high guy, and then also as a single high guy, and then also down in the slot. Like Spags told you he was going to do that, and then he went out and did it. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised.
It just makes you wonder what the pecking order is for the nickel situation, right? Like, do they start having the debate? It's the debates of, all right, well, I think Shamari Connor's our best safety. And the snap counts like kind of reflected, hey, this is our best safety. This is our number one guy. So he's going out with all the big dogs. So if you're looking at the pecking order, how the Chiefs are stacking things, are they going to start debating, well, do we want to kick Trent McDuffie inside and play Justin Watson or Jalen Watson and Christian Fulton, or do we want to keep our best safety on the field and have, and play Shamari Connor in the slot? And like, those are it just makes you wonder what the pecking order looks like internally. Like, that's the big question I kind of have about this now is like, okay, so are these the debates that are happening? Is it Christian Fulton versus Shamari Connor who we want on the field? Or like, is it Christian Fulton versus Jaden Hicks? And we're just doing, I don't know. We'll see. And like, hey, look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean you have to do it all season. But
slot reps in the preseason game, Christian Roland Wallace with 20, Kevin Knowles with 12, and then just a handful of guys with 3 and 2 and 1. So
nothing.
They went with Roland Wallace and Kevin Knowles. Both those guys were mostly later in the game. Shamari Connor was the player in the slot with the first team defense, but he was also playing deep. So, I don't know exactly what we do with this. I just was surprised when Craig said that, and it made me go back and double check. And it's like, oh, Hicks was not starting. To be fair, I was slightly distracted drafting the best dynasty fantasy football team of all time at the start of the game. So I wasn't paying attention to which safeties were starting, but I assumed it was Hicks. I thought he was out there because we saw him, but no, he was just coming in when they were going into nickel, or I guess technically it's their Buffalo package because it's 3 safeties.
Maddie, do you know who didn't play in the slot in that game?
A lot of players.
Josh Simmons didn't. Neither did any of the Chiefs' offensive linemen.
No. Are we done with the secondary?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's another show too with Craig on it coming
That's
up
a
on
preview
Wednesday.
show. That's a preview show.
You
for
know
a
how these
game that
things work?
starts
You guys are gonna
practically 3 days
preview.
later.
You guys are gonna preview the Seahawks game. That's wild.
Heck
Of course
yeah.
we are. What are you?
It's literally coming up like 2 days later.
Oh, does that mean we don't have to do 5 things, Tucker? Like, yeah, of course we're gonna preview it.
No, we have to do 5 things. That's why. That's the preview show.
But we preview on Wednesday too. We look back and look forward at the same time. It's
better when you do the content twice. That's a good idea.
It's the hump day. It's a hump day. No, we keep it evergreen. It's never the same thing twice. We always have something in the chamber for 5 things. Every time.
I feel like it's most of the same.
Speaking of in the chamber, we're coming up on the anniversary of that, by the way. It's in my calendar.
Of
you know.
I don't. Are you gonna have to text me it?
Yeah.
No, we're gonna sit here.
No, don't.
Just gonna let you linger in this.
No, I don't know what it is, but I'm probably, if you see me howling later, that's probably why, because I don't remember.
So offensive line. We got our first look at the Chiefs' presumed starting offensive line. Josh Simmons, Kingsley, then we got Creed, then we got Trey, and then we had Jawan Taylor. However, we also got some Jalen Moore. So what do we think of this?
No, I think offensive line was one of the more fun positions to watch. Tucker did remind me. I think it was one of the more interesting positions to watch. Like, I think you saw how fascinated we were up and down the depth chart, because like I think it's not just the starters; it was also, you know, a lot of the depth pieces, how those positions shake out, and then like the intriguing players like Esa Pole, who is also awesome. I think rewatching the game, I walked away feeling good about the prospects of the offensive line as a whole, because like I feel like the presence of Jalen Moore is good, and I think just having a guy that can be versatile and fit in a lot of places makes some sense. Outside of that really horrendous, awful 1 of 11 reps that Kingsley Suamataia had, he did a few good things too, but that first one was that 1 rep was just absolutely abhorrent.
No. Now, are you talking about where he was late to get the blitzer, or are you talking about when on the fumble play where he just sprinted by the 3-tech and decided not to block him on the outside zone?
It was the first one.
Okay.
But that one was not particularly good either. But I think there was more bright spot. I just think there was more bright spots than but if you're looking at a small sample size, you can't have that. You can't have 2 of 11 be rough. Yeah. I don't know. I think Kingsley still has a long way to go, though. I do think he has long.
Let's do the Kingsley thing. Let's start with Kingsley. It doesn't have to be long, because you're right. They played 11 reps. There's 11 snaps. I don't think that. Okay, I'd say this too. I said this about Josh Simmons as well. I don't think the Chiefs challenged their starting offensive line like at all. They gave them like 2 true pass sets. Everything else was an RPO, a play action with some chip help. They weren't really challenging they ran 2 draw plays. Like, they weren't challenging this offensive line. So I'm going to say all this, and like, by and large, they were fine, and they weren't given a lot to do to showcase positive or negative. I thought Kingsley was fine. There was the bad rep where he was a little bit late to identify the blitz. He then gets knocked backwards because he's off balance, then trips over Creed. We got to get the order correct. He doesn't trip over Creed. He gets knocked back into Creed and then falls over because he was off balance. There was the play where he misses the 3-tech. 2 bad plays out of 11.
4-eye.
Not a huge deal. What?
4-eye, not 3-tech.
I'm going to keep saying that you don't know. He could have lined wrong. Okay, you can calm down with your semantics right now, especially with the Cardinals defense doing all their weird stuff. But I mean, again, it's 2 out of 11 that weren't great. The rest were generally fine. I think he looked really good coming downhill. Like, when he's climbing to the second level as a run blocker, he looks really good. He gets to the second level quick. He's like making contact with actual power to create space. Like, so, and this definitely isn't panic or anything like that. There's no call for this to become a like full on 50-50 competition or anything like that after the 1 game. I do think though that there's been like a pushback that like, oh, he only had 1 bad play. Everything else was really good. I don't know if it was really good. It was fine. he was aiming for fine. And I think we got that for the majority of his reps. The things that he didn't do well, you can definitely chalk up to like learning moments that you can work on and get better next week. And next week, if he plays 22 snaps and only has 2 quote unquote bad plays that we talk about, then hey, that's improvement. That's significant improvement, right? So you just hope to see him build on what we just saw and not make the same mistakes. I guess that's where I do get a little concerned. His balance and like center of gravity continue to be a little bit of an issue for him. And I think that's where he gets in trouble. So we just got to see if that keeps getting better as he gets more experience at guard.
Agreed. I wonder, and I think like it's worth acknowledging too for us, like we react to the postseason or the preseason game, and the games matter. They definitely matter. But if you're looking at Kingsley Suamata'ia's reps for the last month and a half, we all were privy to 11, and the Chiefs were privy to the whole catalog of them. And I think it's, like I'm fascinated to see how effective or how much that 11 snaps changed what the Chiefs wanted to do and how they wanted to operate, and if they want to insert Jalen Moore into the conversation a little bit more and all that kind of stuff. I tend to think that they want to just try it out with Kingsley and let it ride. I think that's like ultimately what they're hoping for. But if things don't pan out the way, if they get any whiff of concern, I think the good news is that Jalen Moore is there. And we didn't see Jalen Moore as a guard yesterday, but we did.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think their usage of Moore as a first team right tackle and then as a second team right tackle, not any as a guard, do you think that like says like, hey, they've worked him in at guard a little bit in camp. Do you think that they're only giving him some work at guard in case Kingsley doesn't pan out as the starter? Do you think they're really expecting him to just be a backup across all 4 positions, I guess, not 5? Like, what do you think the plan is with Jalen Moore, the way they've been using him?
I think that Jalen Moore is taking a lot of snaps at tackle because Jawan Taylor is being load managed or hurt. I think, yes, they are having it's a little bit of a break glass in case of emergency with Jalen Moore at guard, but I think they're more worried about making sure that they have the tackle position solidified because they haven't had them as solidified in a long time. And I think you made a comment a long time ago, like the Chiefs have been better offensively when their tackles are good and their guards and their interior offensive line isn't as good.
I think it's clear as day Mahomes prefers that. And they have gone like 4 years now of trying to do the opposite, which I get the theory. And like, that's typically what like an Andy Heck and an Andy Reid, like coaching staff want. But like, it's pretty clear that Patrick Mahomes is much more comfortable navigating pressure coming straight at him up the middle than he is navigating pressure coming off the edges. Like, I guess it's good that they are finally like, not even building the offensive line that way, but like they're in a position to where the tackles can be a little bit better.
And so I think if you're just making sure you're prioritizing what you want to take care of, like, yeah, keep Jalen Moore over there on the right side and let him work his tackle in case you do have to break glass, in case, break that glass with Jawan Taylor and an injury. A little hint of just pushing Kingsley just a tad. Little hint of just, giving Jalen some reps just in case. Like, I think that's the vision for it, if you were going to ask me.
You said it before we switch. Shout out Esapol. Awesome 3rd string, 4th string reps there at left tackle. Footwork might look like a basketball player, but we are staying in between the rusher and the quarterback, and that's step number 1.
Would you, at what you've seen out of Ethan Driscoll versus what you've seen out of Esapol, if you got a roster 1?
Ooh. I don't dislike what I saw out of Driscoll last year. I wasn't paying as much of attention to him in this game, but I didn't mind what I saw from him last year. I even made a case like, hey, let's make sure we keep him around. If it comes down to those two, based on the very little that we've seen, I would lean, I think, towards Pohl because he has less football experience. So I can buy into like, hey, there is like a high end upside here that's still to be discovered, right? Like that movement ability at his size, because he's a big dude. Like you look at him, he's big, he's got long arms. The footwork is clearly very like quick. He's light on his feet. So there's just a path where I think if it works out for him, you might get a starting tackle. If it works out for Driscoll, you're probably looking at like he's a good backup to have, I think is kind of how I'm viewing them. Now, Driscoll's better right now. Like if I had to line them up today and say, hey, give me a whole game, Driscoll's better today. But long term, I would probably think I'd lean Esapol.
I'm curious what the Chiefs are doing with Driscoll too. Like he didn't play this game. I know playing from an injury, like
Makes
running
sense.
out of
That's probably why I didn't notice him, Kent.
Well, running out of tape, running out of running out of time to flash tape during waiver claims.
Yeah.
It's just hard. It's just hard to keep. It's hard. I was trying to find him during the game, and at one point I thought he was playing guard, and it was Dalton Cooper. And actually, when I watched Dalton Cooper, I didn't think Dalton Cooper was bad.
He wasn't bad. He was
not bad.
Better than CJ Hansen.
I was gonna say Dalton Cooper, CJ Hansen.
Dalton Cooper. I don't even need to watch anything.
I thought
I'm done with CJ. I'm done with the CJ Hansen experiment. Like, I get it. I understand the swing. I'm not mad at the swing at all. I understand the profile, some of the highs. I have not seen a single thing. It's just in preseason. I have not seen a single thing in 4 preseason games now that say, okay, we got to keep doing this.
Dalton Cooper looked all right though.
Yeah.
When I was trying to find, like, literally, there was a time I was trying to find Ethan Driscoll. I couldn't find him.
Yeah, because he wasn't out there.
And it was like, there's no way they're playing this 7'3" monstrosity Ethan Driscoll at left guard right now, are they? They weren't.
I'm pretty sure Dalton Cooper's a pretty big fella too, though.
I know, but he's not Driscoll big.
Ooh, you don't think so? Dalton Cooper, pro day. I don't think he was he at the. He might have been at the combine actually.
Ethan Cooper Chiefs is
Ethan Cooper's not doing any good.
Dalton Cooper, I mean.
Big. Okay, he's listed 6'5", 223.
Yeah,
for the combine.
He's not Driscoll big. He's
not that tall. I thought he was taller than that. I think he's listed at 6'7" though. That's why I probably think you thought he was that tall.
Do you know who's not 6'7"?
Here we go. Great transition. I love it.
The wide receivers.
If they were, that'd be crazy though.
They tried that several times. They tried Jody Fortson. They tried Kelvin Benjamin.
Jason Brownlee. Is it Jason? I forget his first name.
They threw a ball to Donovan Smith once. What do you think of the pass catchers in this game, Maddie?
I thought Tyquan Thornton did well. He didn't have a lot of stuff going on out there, but I think you saw him used every way. I noticed it when I was watching, cutting up some of his stuff for press. He actually has a fair amount of targets in the red zone for a very skinny wide receiver that you think is like a vertical stretch guy. And he's got a decent release for a slant. And I think we saw that right away. I really liked how he cut it upfield more like a glance route because the safety dropping down would have been in the throwing lane if he flattened it out. So I thought he made good hands on the release, good like redirection of his route, then force the DPI. You saw him get deep over on the double move that Bailey Zappi once again missed the throw, which he has got to be hating his life for having to deal with that again. And then we also saw the completion on the corner route. So like, I think Thornton gave you just a little bit of like, hey, this is kind of what I do. I can stretch the field, and we get in the red zone. I'm not a complete, like there's not a complete nothing here. I'm not a contested catch guy, but I have enough like speed and like release prowess to get open off the line of scrimmage. So I thought Thornton looked good.
I think so too. I think he looks like he's starting to develop some of the promise that you saw his rookie year and, through the pre-draft process at Baylor. So like I think there's some positive signs there. You see him in some special teams action as well, like getting very involved, being on some of those early special teams units. Like I think the case for Tyquan Thornton on the 53-man roster is quite strong right now. I think there's a really good, it feels like it makes sense that he might wind up getting the call. Any other receivers that kind of impressed you?
Nothing else super jumped out. Like I know Jalen Royals had a couple nice plays and catches. He was playing a lot out of the slot, not having to do a ton of like release work or anything like that. So I'm just excited to see what else he has. Like he had a nice catch on third down. He caught the second screen where he was actually able to get upfield and show a little burst. So I'm intrigued to see what he looks like going forward. Didn't love the fade route release. That was not a great one. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he does, but I don't think the Chiefs wide receivers outside that really did anything to write home about. I mean, shout out Big Bob out there striding out, catching crossers, doing the Lord's work.
Can I give you the dumbest take?
Yeah, Joe.
Oh no. We saw Travis Kelce for 2 snaps in that game.
Let's go.
And he didn't run a route.
Yeah, he did the draw play and then the next run right after.
Yeah, that was it.
I love that the Chiefs ran 2 draws with their first team offensive line too. That's awesome.
He looked
super helpful.
Travis looked a little more spry in those short motions and blocking than he did last year.
Travis Kelce looks to be in vastly better shape than he was previously. And anybody anywhere that ever said, oh, he was just injured or he's old or anything like that, needs to think, hey, take a step back and look in the mirror and be like, oh, okay, maybe he just wasn't moving well last year. Maybe he was maybe he had some of them sandwiches that Owen else been eating.
It was noticeable.
Callback.
Just even, yeah, good one.
Professional.
It was a callback from Postgame.
Exactly.
Wasn't just a joke off the top of the show. But no, I think he looked spry. And I was like, huh,
yeah,
okay, that looked more like Travis. Like, because some of those short motions even just looked a little laborious last season, and this definitely looked a little bit better. So
he had a block on one of the runs where like he had to get up to the second level and like he made good contact and got it all squared up. And like, it wasn't like he was a terrible blocker last year. It's just some of the climbs to the second level were a little labored, and this one did not look labored whatsoever.
Just looked different, man. It just looked different. Before we get out of here, any other risers and fallers that you want to pay attention to? Anyone you want to call out?
Yeah, Noel Williams. He still looks like a rookie corner. He's got to be less okay with defaulting into hard inside leverage and trail technique, especially at this level where he's going to get run by. He kind of like defaults to his feet stop moving, and if he doesn't get hands, he will just happily fall into a trail tech on anybody releasing outside. But when he does get hands on a player and like is able to use his physicality, or he's playing in zone where he's having to like midpoint, like a cover two playing the flat or like a corner against a smash concept, I thought he had a pretty good job of that, like a pretty good feel. So I thought Noel Williams did a good job. Just there was a rookie, so there's stuff to work on. I liked his presence as a force player in the run game. It's got to be quicker to transition. There was a couple times where a receiver came up to stock block him and he didn't really react until they got hands on him. Or even one time they went and dug out a safety and he like didn't start to, I have to replace the safety until after the block was like being made. So there's just some processing stuff, but that's expected for a rookie. I thought that play against the fade in the end zone was good. I like the physicality. He had, like I said, he came up and tackled a runner bouncing outside. So yeah, I thought Noel Williams had a pretty good game for a, round 3 rookie cornerback jumping in there. And Josh Williams is apparently buried on the depth chart. Najee Johnson continues to Najee Johnson. Like, I don't know. Christian Fulton's not healthy. Maybe we get to see Noel Williams play a little bit earlier in this upcoming game.
I mean, we're getting close to moving day. Like, you start seeing these practices start changing, start moving some things. You start seeing players moving around a little bit differently, and you start seeing where things get stacked. You're going to start getting some ideas sooner rather than later. I already shouted out Dalton Cooper. I realized why we were calling him Ethan Cooper. I think we combined Ethan Driscoll and Dalton Cooper together for a minute there.
It's not a we, I don't think.
That was both of us. I think I heard it from you first, actually. That's why I started.
Run it back.
We're going to run it back. That's exactly what happened. Positive. No doubt about it. Anyways, Dalton Cooper, shout out to him. I thought, I think he showed some good things from, that first game out. I think good body positioning and good balance for the most part for a guy that was playing his first NFL game. A little faller. It's not a faller because, I think Nico Remillo is firmly.
I got some fallers.
Firmly a returner. I think Nico Remillo.
Like that water bottle out of Joe Burrow's hand.
Nico Remillo, the wide receiver. I think that experiment's over. I mean, he gets in the way of the smash route and kind of pushes up field, misreads the leverage, and tries to pull up field a little bit higher. And then he does make a really nice catch the very next play, except for the route was not particularly good at all. And so it's like. I don't know. I think Nico Remillo, the route runner, is done. Nico Remillo, the returner, stock up. How about that?
Yeah, I think he's a very good returner. As a receiver, he's your very last guy to roll out there to do. I mean, he's your 6th, 7th wide receiver, whatever it is. And when he's out there, he should be running routes from the slot and getting the yak opportunity because that's what he does best. I got some guys. I'm trying to run through them a little bit quicker. You can jump in if you have any things on them. Stock up. Elijah Mitchell. I thought he looked pretty good. He had good chips coming out of the backfield. He didn't have like a true pass pro rep. I looked, but good chips coming out of the backfield. Caught the ball on the one time. I thought we didn't get to see him really open it up, but decent burst. Also, Rashard Smith, I didn't see anything that made me say, ooh, that's electric. That's dynamic. I'm not saying it was bad, just nothing jumped out from what he did. And some of that's the opportunities that he was presented. That's not all just a player, but like nothing about him being the fifth runner in the rotation made me say, oh, that needs to bump him up. So like maybe it's more of like that stock held, but I definitely was hoping to see more from him so he could get more into that competition. Any running back takes?
I think Brashard Smith might be too wide receiver to be a running back in the National Football League, and that's my take right now. I have a little bit of concern just seeing, some of the reps that you see in, and I think there's layers to it because like I think there is a role for a Brashard Smith in offenses. I just don't know if there's a role for a Brashard Smith when you were looking at the construction of this roster. And how they need to try to build these rooms out. I don't know if there's a fit for Brashard Smith because like I think like who's the third down back that's going to stick their nose in pass pro for this team? Like who's going to be taking on that
Mr.
role?
Kareem Hunt.
Okay, so we're Kareem Hunt. We're Kareem hunting it. Okay.
Carson Steele is a willing pass protector. His rep at it was bad, but he picked the right guy to get in the way of.
So is Carson Steele a lock?
Yeah, he played fullback. He came back in after his running back duty was over and played a fullback snap for Elijah Young.
Do you think Elijah Mitchell can help you more in 2025 than Brashard Smith can?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't think it's close if he's healthy. I think he definitely helps you more. He might even just be a better all-around third down back because I don't think Elijah Mitchell's a great pass catcher, but he has been a functional pass protector at times in San Francisco. So if he can carry that over too, like you might actually have somebody that can do all your third down duties a little bit.
I'm just trying to figure out how to find a role for Brashard Smith, and
I'm with you. I think he's right now would have to be outside. Like if I was predicting 53 right now, he might be on the outside. Like not getting even like a couple reps with that second team was telling. And then when he did get out there, he didn't look bad. It's just nothing. He looked small, number one, and number two, it wasn't like, oh, that guy moves differently. And
he looks more like the Anthony Thomas.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. I have another stock down.
Okay.
Every linebacker that's not a starter for this team. Every single one of them. I very specifically, we talked about it a little bit, but Cochran and Cole Christensen, absolutely just terrible. Just so bad. It was so bad. Craig's going to come on Wednesday and talk about something called a Cooper McDonald's. And like, sure, his 3 reps as a Sam linebacker, I guess he came up and made a play. Like, I don't disagree, but that's a third string Sam linebacker. Bassa was fine. I don't have a complaint, but he also is getting told what to do. And he looks like a guy whose brain is moving way too fast right now. And he's a rookie. He looked like Dorian O'Daniel out there. Not in a bad way, just like that's what he looked like.
But pause. I don't know if there is a positive, non-derogatory way to say Dorian O'Daniel's name. And I'm sorry, Dorian.
Listen, he came in and did that QB spy work against Lamar that one year, and he did it great. You clearly see the gears spinning and he's flying around everywhere, and that's good. But like, I don't think right now he's just like not getting it and then getting there early. He's seeing it and reacting. Yeah, it's not so he was fine, but like every other linebacker was just pretty brutal.
Any other takes?
Chris Roland Wallace. Hey, Deion Bush is hurt, unfortunately. Hope he gets better and can come back soon. But like, he's playing safety and slot corner. That makes it pretty valuable to Steve Spagnuolo and make it a roster.
Janarius Robinson, his season's over as well as Deion Bush's, so neither of them are coming back this year. So that is unfortunate.
Oh yeah, that was unfortunate for him because he was the best defensive end they had.
He was doing decent in that game. Hate to end it on a bummer note like that.
Oh, do you need okay, hold on. We got to find a stock up quick. The first one to find a stock up wins.
That's a poll.
The stock up is Taylor Swift has been officially announced on the New Heights show, so that is happening.
That can't end my football show. I know. I cannot end my show about football.
There's no
chance.
That's the stock up.
Watch New Heights at 6 p.m. and then come watch our show on Wednesday. It's going to be with Craig. That's going to do it for this episode of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.
Matt Ariza, that's a good one. Shout out.
Boom.